Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Coach Mike with Elite Performance. And today I want to talk to you about type 2 diabetes. Um, excuse me, about type 2 diabetes, just, what it is, what it isn't, give you a better understanding of what's going on inside your body if you're suffering from this condition and things that you can do to lessen. I can't say cure and I can't say fix and heal and all this other stuff. So I'm tiptoeing around how I have to word things, but just alternative methods of managing the symptoms from something like type 2 diabetes. But anyway, if you talk to an MD, or for that fact, if you talk to anyone trained in Western medicine and American medicine, so that's going to be anybody who basically, any healthcare professional who works in a hospital. All right, so a nutritionist, an RD, an MD, your nurses, you're going to get one answer. That one answer is that type 2 diabetes is basically either your body is not producing enough insulin or it's resistant to the insulin, but it's some type of insulin problem, and what you need is diet, exercise, and pharmaceutical drugs. The pharmaceutical drugs is they're going to give you insulin. They're going to give you a man-made version of insulin. All right, so diet, exercise, man-made version of insulin. But that's wrong. That's just flat out wrong. I just say it like that. If you're trained in medicine, on the other side of the coin, if you're a naturopath, if you're a homeopath, if you're a herbalist, if you're a holistic, nutritionist, then we see things from a whole different point of view. Okay, type 2 diabetes is a mineral deficiency. All right, it is a simple mineral deficiency. Now, in 1957, Dr. Walter Mertz, and I'm going to leave a link in the description to this science that I'm about to tell you, but in 1957, Dr. Walter Mertz, he worked for the USDA, he was a scientist, and he found that when you removed chromium and vanadium and about 20 other trace minerals, but in particular chromium and vanadium, and in particular chromium, when you remove these minerals from the diets of these lab animals, they all develop type 2 diabetes. Okay? And when you reintroduce these minerals, in particular chromium and vanadium, back into the diets of these lab animals, type 2 diabetes all went away. Right? So they had to do more research to figure out what was happening, what was the metabolic pathways that were being created, like what was going on. And basically, to bring this conversation way, way down, right? I'm going to take it way, way down to a way that everybody can understand it. Basically, you eat sugar. Okay, sugar backs up into the blood. When sugar backs up into the blood, the body releases insulin. Okay, now it's the job of insulin to basically ring the doorbell on the cell so that the cell opens up the door to let the sugar in. Okay, now in the case of type 2 diabetes, these people are lacking chromium, vanadium, and like I said, about 20 other trace minerals. So what happens is insulin rings the doorbell, there's like a break in the wire, the signal doesn't get to the cell and the cell door doesn't open. It didn't happen because you're not producing insulin. It didn't happen because your body's resistant to insulin. It happened because the wiring in the cell is incomplete because you're lacking certain minerals, certain nutrients. Okay? Type 2 diabetes is simply that. It's a nutrient deficiency. That's all it is. Okay? And like I said, this was 1957, Dr. Walter Mertz. This is published science. This is not Mike's opinion. This is not me pulling something out of thin air. But this is something that you would think your medical doctor should know. But I don't really think they do know. But they should, right? But they don't know. What they do is they prescribe insulin, right? Now, everyone knows that if type 2 diabetes gets too far out of control, a patient can lose their sight, start losing toes, legs, things getting amputated because of diabetic nerve damage, right? Now, let's look at how that happens or why that happens. Okay? You eat something with sugar in it. All right, now sugar is a donut. Sugar is cupcake. Sugar is the potato chips, but sugar is also broccoli and an apple and a carrot. Potatoes are sugar too, and rice and all these other things, but fruits and vegetables, those are sugar. All right, along with all the other things that most people believe are sugar, so are fruits and vegetables. So you eat some sugar. All right, sugar backs up into the blood. Sugar's trying to get into the cell. Okay, keep that in mind. The sugar's not just in the blood to be in the blood. It wants to get into the cell so it can, do its thing and energy and all of this good stuff. So it's trying to get into the cell. Now, in the case of a type 2 diabetic, right, the cell door isn't opening, the sugar is not getting into the cell, insulin keeps backing up into the blood. More insulin, more sugar. More insulin, more sugar. More insulin, more sugar. At a certain point, right, the insulin is going to, again, for lack of better terms, basically it's going to break the cell wall. It's going to like breach the wall because of so much insulin in the blood, and the sugar rushes in. And the cell is now damaged, and if you damage enough cells in one particular area, that's the area that has to be amputated. This happens because of insulin. Too much insulin backing into the blood along with sugar over an extended period of time causes amputations in diabetes patients. What does the MD prescribe for type 2 diabetes? Insulin. He prescribes insulin. Look it up. Insulin is what causes the amputations. And the MDs don't know well enough to know not to prescribe insulin. It's ridiculous. And as ridiculous as it is, it's ridiculous if you're still listening to them. Over my career so far, I've trained about 4 doctors who were diabetes doctors. And each and every one of them would ask me, what should they tell their patients to eat? And I thought that is criminal. These people should be locked in jail. What should you tell your patients to eat? Your patients come to you thinking that you know that, and yet you're asking the holistic nutritionist because you don't know. Because they're not trained to know. All right? Your MD may be the nicest person that God ever created, but your MD is misnamed. Okay? If I study naturopathic medicine, I'll be a naturopath. If I study chiropractic, I'll be a chiropractor. However, if I study allopathic medicine, which is how to treat symptoms using drugs, they will call me a medical doctor. Your MD does not learn medicine. Your MD learns and only knows drugs. That's all they got for you. That's all they're going to ever throw at you. Drugs. Because they just weren't trained to know anything but drugs. So, when it comes to chronic sickness, going to an MD is like going to a plumber, for the same chronic. You're going to get the plumber might actually give you better advice than the MD. Because the MD just weren't trained to do this. Until next time, guys, I'm Coach Mike with Elite Performance, and take care.